Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe and follow my Instagram page and my YouTube channel. I'm very excited to welcome the stunning IFBB Pro figure competitor, Amanda Almodovar. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, close enough.
Okay,
Almodovar,
sorry about
yeah.
that. um, to the podcast. Amanda earned her pro card at the 2022 NPC Nationals and is going to make her pro debut later this summer. She's also a kindergarten teacher, and I wish I had a teacher that looked like her when I was a youngling. Welcome to FBB Forum, Amanda. You look terrific, and it's great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So I was curious in terms of getting started in bodybuilding, did you have like an athletic or a sports background before you started competing?
Yeah, so my whole life I've played sports. And so in high school I was like a three-sport varsity athlete. I played varsity soccer, varsity softball, and varsity basketball.
Wow.
And I really loved soccer and softball the most. So, when in terms of looking at college, I was like, I definitely want to play. I want to hold on to being an athlete. And so I went on to play 4 years of college softball at Mount St. Mary College in Newburgh, New York. I was a center fielder. I was the lead in the lineup, and I absolutely loved playing. I wanted to play soccer as well, but it just was too much with the curriculum and all of that. So,
Sure.
yeah, I ended up playing 4 years of college ball. I absolutely loved it. And then it got to my junior year, and I was like, okay, well, senior year is next year. I'm gonna have to hang up my cleats. And I just could not come to terms with that. So I started, training in terms of wanting to just get stronger and wanting to be a better athlete in softball. And then I had a couple of friends that were into powerlifting. So I actually first started with, squat, bench, and deadlift, and liking that I was strong and liking that I was growing. And then I actually had a friend that was competing in bikini at the time. And she had said, like, oh, you have a great physique. You should try and get involved in bodybuilding. And so it was kind of like in between the two, do I power lift? Do I bodybuild? And I found like the safer bet while I was still playing college ball was to start, my bodybuilding journey. And so that's when I really started training for bodybuilding. I did my first show in my junior year while I was still playing ball. And so I hit the stage one time and I like absolutely fell in love. And so slowly but surely throughout my senior year, I was like, getting excited to leave practice and go hit the gym afterwards. And so that's kind of where it all started. And then, I finished out my last year. I hung up my cleats and I picked up the heels, and the rest is history. So,
That's terrific. I've heard that from other ladies that after doing college or high school sports and they still wanted to compete or remain in a competitive environment, that bodybuilding kind of filled that niche, which is kind of cool.
yeah, yeah, I don't know what I would have done. It's like, you're an athlete your whole life, and it's just you eat, you train, you sleep, like you're working towards a specific purpose. So I just found that bodybuilding was like the most beautiful blend into like not having to let that go and doing it in a different light.
I was curious, do you keep in touch with your college athlete teammates and everything, or?
Yeah, some of my teammates still I keep in touch. It's funny, one actually goes to my local gym and she's like, "Oh my God, it's crazy to see you." And so yeah, I keep in touch with some of my teammates for sure.
What are their thoughts about you doing bodybuilding? Are they excited about it? And
Yeah, they think it's really cool, and
yeah,
because they all kind of they hung it up and they stopped, and they go to the gym here and there, but it's not to the level of this. So they're excited for me that I've just continued on.
that's terrific. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Um, Now in terms of, I was curious, like who convinced you to do your first contest, or did you have like a role model or a mentor?
I mean, via social media, I saw girls like, Cass Martin, who was like a bigger girl at the time. And I was obsessed with Dana Lynn Bailey, and like I wanted her shoulders. And so, I saw different girls that had more muscle. I was always drawn to that. And so that's kind of, I guess you could say, my inspo. But yeah, it was more so just my friends that had competed in the past that were just like, have the genetics for it. And it really was just like the training aspect of it that I've really what made me fall in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was never really like the physique aspect. Of course, that's like a nice perk to it, but it
Mm-hmm.
was more so just like I loved the grit of training, and I loved, you know, using that as an like an outlet. So it was nice.
That's very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I was curious, like, was it kind of tough for you to get up on stage for the first time in a bikini? Was it kind of nerve-wracking for you?
Yeah, so it's funny because like I would never picture myself doing that. Like our stage suits fit in a Ziploc bag, and I would never. I'm just not that girl. Like I'm not the, look at me. So it's funny because like all the way up until that point, it was like, okay, I love the training, I love the grit of it, I love the growing, um, and then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I have to like now pose. And so I had a friend at the time who helps me with posing and stuff. And she's like, you need to stop with the soldier walk. Like, so it definitely took me a while to like be more in my feminine and do, put on a show. So I was very nervous about it because it was definitely, I'm not like the full glam type of girl and the glitter and the heels and all that. But when I did, get under the lights for the first time, it's kind of like something just took over, and I just kind of blacked out, and it just naturally happened. So I'm glad that, all that hard work did, translate to it actually looking good on stage. And ever since then, it's gotten better with each time. So
And how about now, like in terms of getting on stage now, do you feel nervous at all or
not
um
anymore. No,
no?
not anymore. I mean,
Cool.
I get like excited. I think it's just more so like the calm before the storm. Like when I'm
Mhm.
backstage, there's something that just like is something so tranquil about it. And then, when the lights hit, it's go time, and it's time to just display what you've worked for. So
I understand. Oh, my daughter just came home.
oh,
Uh,
nice.
um, now I was curious, in terms of, we talked, or I mentioned in the intro about earning your pro card. It was at the NPC Nationals.
Mhm.
And what was that like for you? I bet that was pretty exciting for you, huh?
Yeah, I really went into it with really no expectations because I was like, okay, this is the biggest national show that there is. This is going to be very good competition. And so I kind of just went into it like, I'm going to display the hard work that I've put in. It was my first show with my coach, which is Matt Jensen. And so we were just kind of like, let's give it what we have. And I was very happy with the results, of course. And it was just, that's a weekend I'll never, ever, ever forget. It was honestly like surreal. So,
That it was thrilling for you. That must have been how many, I think you got second place in your class, but how many ladies were in your class?
that I don't remember, but I know that I did both wellness and figure.
Yeah.
And so I was one spot from the double pro card in wellness. I ended up getting third, and that class was insanely big. They brought us out in like 3 different lines.
Oh, really?
So
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty large. But I think for figure it was definitely in the team numbers, I'm pretty sure,
Wow. That's
in
cool.
terms of competitors. So everyone looked great.
Now for your pro debut, like which division are you doing? Are you doing figure or wellness?
Yeah, yep. So I'm sticking to figure. I
Okay.
had spoken to Steve after nationals, and I got feedback, and I love the figure division. I just think it's beautiful. It's kind of like a muscle Barbie. It's feminine. It's shape. And so as much as wellness was very fun and very sassy and girly, I think my personality fits figure as well as kind of like my genetics. I've worked my upper body really, really hard to get my back and shoulders to where they are, and so
Mhm.
to atrophy that muscle and only really be able to train wellness like legs for wellness is something that I really didn't see myself enjoying or loving. And
Mhm.
so the goal is to stay in figure for now, until they tell me I'm too big and then kick me out. So
That's terrific. I'm glad to hear that because I prefer figure and I just think it's better, more symmetrical top to
yeah,
bottom, really,
yeah.
I think that's great. And no, and you do have a great look for figure too. So I think that's
Thank
terrific.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I know we're going to keep it a mystery, but I know you're talking about competing this summer for your pro debut. But
Yes.
so have you started your prep and everything and getting ready?
I have. Yep, I have started. So I started out at 24 weeks. So just slow and steady here. But yeah, Matt and I like to start very far out so that we just, slowly but surely chip away week by week. And so things are kind of just calm right now. I'm the leanest I've ever been, the furthest out. So it's really cool to see, like, this off season is I've brought a completely different shape. And so I'm like really excited to continue to just chisel that down and see the shapes shine through. So
Yeah, so it'll have been like a year and a half since you competed, I
right.
guess. So that's a good. I think that was good. You took the year off because I think that the competitors who take the year off end up better than ever. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
good to get that time to grow but also kind of take a break from competing. I think it's probably not such a bad thing too.
Yeah, I mean, I just as women, it's healthy for us, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of the above. And then, you're only people rushing to the stage. It's like the stage will always be there. But when you have that crunch time and you're forcing it, it's not beneficial for your body. So I was very willing to tell Matt, like, wherever you see me best fit, you choose the show, you choose the timing. I'm in no rush. I'm still only 26, so I haven't even hit my peak of like muscle maturity and density, and so that's very exciting as well. So yeah, I'm just staying the course and seeing where it takes us.
You're just a youngin', geez Louise. But
I'm
you're
a baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
awesome though. Very
Yeah.
cool. No, that's awesome though. And I think I think that was a good move and I think it was smart to go that way.
Mhm.
Now I was curious with when you got your pro card, did you get any feedback from the judges at that time in terms of where you need to improve your physique or your presentation?
Yeah, so they told me that I should continue working to get a wider back as
Hmm.
well as a hamstring sweep. So those were like our two biggest is just like back density and width as well as hamstring density. And those are two things that we definitely are bringing. So I'm really excited to see the growth that we did.
That's terrific. That's really
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I was just curious if since you've gotten your pro card now, is there any kind of advice you could provide to amateur ladies who want to achieve their pro card? And I know, of course, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, but any tips you could provide?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is really just doing it for the passion of it instead of the title of it because I really thought I mean, I don't want to say I thought, but a lot of people think that like when you attain this certain status or oh, I'm an IFBB pro now or I have a pro card, that you're going to feel some type of way. And it's
Mhm.
really not, like yes, I cried and yes, I was happy and all of the above, but you're a pro before you turn a pro because
Mhm.
you fall in love with the process of it and the grit of that every single day training. And so just embracing every step of that journey instead of thinking about the end result and thinking about what that might bring and just enjoying the process is I think my biggest, you know, form of advice. Because if you don't love it and you're not loving the everyday grind of it, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Hmm.
Uh, and so, if you love the grit of it and you're working your tail off, then once you get there, the fruit will be that much sweeter. So
That's good advice. Yeah, I like that. That's really cool. Yeah. Um, yeah, I know I admire you and all the ladies because that's just like there's so much hard work and I'm a little too lazy, so I'll just live vicariously for you guys.
yes.
Now I was curious, I might know the answer to this already, but what's been your favorite bodybuilding show so far and why?
I mean, you can't beat the Olympia. I mean, just seeing the cream of the crop and seeing those athletes that are really just putting in the years and years of work and the way that we change our lives is we're just so set apart than anyone else. And so to see them and to see that they really truly understand the lifestyle and living that and changing things for it and to see their families supporting them through it because what we do is not average. It's not something that anyone would choose really to do by will besides us. Like we're just set apart and we enjoy it and we love it. And so
Mhm.
seeing the families and seeing the athletes and seeing the fans and just the way that bodybuilding is so supported at that top elite level is just a beautiful thing to see. So I have to say Olympia for sure.
That's great. Yeah, I've been to two of the Olympias now in Orlando, and It is. That's an electric environment and
Yeah.
experience. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. There's like it's like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. It's just like and everyone understands. Everyone's walking around with a Tupperware and you smell the protein and it's just, when you really truly love it, it's just like you're immersed in your element and it's so beautiful to see.
That's cool. Yeah, I know. I hope it does come back to Orlando too. I'd like to
I
see.
hope so. So we can go to Disney again after.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Disney is great. And it is nice
Yeah.
to be able to go. It's like right there, it's really close to where they usually at the convention center where they usually host it. So
Yeah.
now my next few questions are about prep and coaching. I was curious, do you have a prep coach and opposing coach?
Yes. So my prep coach is Matt Jansen, part of Camp Jansen, which is, just a team of very elite athletes. So I'm honored to be on that roster with them.
Yeah.
And then my posing coach is Kenny Wallach. So I actually saw him
Oh,
this morning. Yeah, he's super, super awesome. And yeah, those are the men with the plan and just going under their guidance and just really honestly grateful for their love and support with each step. That I
great.
couldn't ask for better coaches.
I was curious, how long have you been working with those guys?
So I started posing with Kenny when I was 19. And
Really?
I'm now 26. Yeah. So
Wow.
I had my first session with him at 19. So he's like a real big father figure to me. And, I'm grateful for him seeing my potential in our first session. It's funny because I had my coach, my past coach at the time. I've only had two coaches, my past coach and then Matt. But he was like, I'm just gonna forewarn you, like, he's very on the money and he might, shoot it straight and tell you how it is, because that's who Kenny is and that's what a good coach is. And I remember just like Kenny was like, wow, like you're 19, but you have potential, honey. And I was like, wow. And I just
Really?
held on to that. And so, it's been a beautiful journey of him posing me every year and he gets more excited than I do. And so it's really been a nice process with him. And then
That's
I've
great.
been with Matt for 2 years now.
Oh, that's terrific. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Kenny, I know, is just kind of a legend in the bodybuilding
He's
world. I
amazing.
mean, yeah. And I think that's a good person to work with.
Hmm.
And that's really cool. Um, I was curious, what would you say is the most kind of challenging aspect of prep for you?
Hmm. Honestly, I think because I have a full-time career, I think the biggest thing is really time management for me
Yeah.
because my life is scheduled by the millisecond. So,
Yeah, I bet.
and that's why, like for nationals, my peak week, I was still teaching. Like I literally took personal days for Thursday, like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of that week that I was competing that weekend.
Really?
Because I was like, all right, I'm making sub plans. I gotta go, kids. Like I gotta go get my pro card. So
Oh,
I think,
wow.
the hardest thing is really kind of scheduling, competition around teaching and around that lifestyle because, a lot of competitors either they have sponsors with supplement brands and that's kind of their line of work, or they're working remote, or they're working with um, like just nutrition companies and all those things. So it's a little more flexible and a little easier. But for
Hmm.
me, Monday through Friday, I have to be on for them. And so I think the most challenging thing is, as I get closer, my energy levels kind of start to deplete. And so
Hmm.
just pushing myself throughout my schedule of literally 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. is exhausting on lower calories and higher cardio and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, just really time management and knowing where to exhaust my energy as needed.
Do you get summers off at least, though?
I do. Yep, I get summers off, so that's why that's why the debute's this summer, so that I don't have to, be so sucked down and dehydrated and exhausted for the debut. I think it's definitely going to help in terms of like water retention and lower cortisol and stuff like that. Because my last month or so before show will be, I'll be home. I won't be in the classroom, so
That's
that'll be
great.
that'll be definitely different from nationals and a lot more beneficial for me.
I bet. That's terrific. Actually, that's a really good thing for you, I think, and that's going to work
Yeah,
out in your favor, almost
yeah,
give you a competitive advantage, I think, honestly. So yeah.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I'll put my feet up and I'll be ready until go time.
That's awesome. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
I was curious if what advice could you give to ladies who are looking for a good coach?
Definitely shop around, do your research, talk to past athletes. That's what I really did. And I spoke to women, I spoke to women my age, I spoke to women in my division. Try and get, feedback from any other type of person most specific to who you are, even as far as ethnicity, as far as, you know, height and just everything, because the more specific feedback you get, the better. And definitely, you know, people want to like cut corners and pay the lowest price, but if you would like to be elite and you would like to really truly do the thing, then you need to understand that, top level coaches are going to have their price, and essentially you're paying for your future, and you're investing in yourself. And so a lot of people find that coaching is like, oh, well, that's too expensive, or whatever the case may be, but they're not
Hmm.
realizing like that money you're spending for dinners or having drinks with friends or going on vacations, like, you're making an investment in your coaching. And so really
Yeah,
truly putting your money where your goals are, and understanding that that person really has your future in their hands. You really want to make sure that you trust that person. And so I'm thankful that, with Matt, we've created a very good level of trust. And I give it all to him. I'm just like, I truly trust him. I'm not doing anything more, anything less than what he's telling me, because, a lot of people will get a coach and then they'll go against what their coach is saying, or they'll do more, or they'll do less. And it's like, well, you're paying the person to essentially lead the way. And
hmm,
so you want to make sure that you're choosing the right person that you're able to fully trust and fully invest in.
that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
terrific. That's really good advice too. I think that's good way of putting it, and good for people who are kind of up and coming in bodybuilding world too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I was curious, do you have kind of a supportive bodybuilding community where you live?
It's not big over here. It's not. I'm very
Yeah.
like, I'm one of the few. I'm one of the
Really?
few over here.
Yeah.
Where I live is very desolate. It's very suburban. It's not like the Florida or the Texas where bodybuilding is huge over there.
Yeah.
So I kind of stick out like a sore thumb where I am. I mean, more towards Jersey area, there are more bodybuilders and people that go to Signature Fitness, and that's where I train on weekends and stuff. But like where I am, upstate is just, it's pretty
Hmm.
dead here. So
Really?
yeah, it's not really that much of a supportive community. I mean, people support me, but it's not like I have a bunch of pros that go to my gym and I can, converse with them and stuff. It's really like the closest thing to me is like an hour or so away
Oh,
of
really?
other pros. So
Wow. Yeah, you said I know you're friends with Jess Falborn, but she's in Jersey, so you get to see
yeah.
her pretty regularly.
Yeah, so Jess is my girl. We see each other as often as we can because she's in prep and I'm in prep. It's a little more busy, as well as, she coaches and I teach. And so our schedules are crazy, but we try
Yeah.
to see each other every couple of weekends. And during the summer, I'll sleep over her place. We'll train together, and off season we're together a lot. So, but yeah, that being said, we're still like an hour or so apart.
Oh,
So
yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. I'm excited for her pro debut too. I think,
She's gonna
yeah.
kill it. She's gonna kill it. I'm so excited.
I like there was a photo of you on Instagram, the two of you, where you're talking about, I think, Disney and turkey legs, and you're
Yes,
that was a
the
great
turkey
shot of
legs.
you guys. So y'all look beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that's my turkey club, my meat twin. I love it. That's the best, is like our off season leg days. We just go ham and then we'll grab a cheat meal. It's like I can't. Her and I are like, oh, we can't wait until this off season.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get to like eat some regular food and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was great. When we went to Disney together, it was like definitely top core memories for sure.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a Disney shot of you with the Mickey Mouse ears too, and it's a cute
Yes,
shot.
yes.
Yeah.
We love our Disney.
That's awesome.
Kids at
Yeah,
heart.
Disney is cool, especially it's grown so much and there's so much there to see. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely have to go back for sure once we both qualify, and we'll go back to celebrate. So
Oh yeah. Or once that's what they say when you win too. It's like, where are you going next? I'm
that's
going
totally
to
us. We're going to Disney World.
y'all if y'all get O qualification, you'll have especially have to do that. So that'll be
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. For
Mhm.
sure. God willing.
Now I was curious, do you have like a husband or a boyfriend?
I do not at the moment. I do not. I'm
Really?
just, yeah, I do not. I did, and then some things just, I for the betterment of my life and my future, I'm just like I need to really focus in on what I'm doing, and
Mhm.
I need to make sure that that person is going to match the level that I'm at all around. And
Yeah.
so I cannot settle, because if I want to be the best of the best at all that I do, and I need that person to really, I need to trust in that person that they're going to be someone I can lean on. And so yeah, I'm not right now. Just just focused. That's all.
All right. Well, you watch out. People are going to check in your DMs now. You better watch out.
Swarm the DMs.
No, you're beautiful though. So yeah, no, but I understand that though, and I've interviewed some other ladies that are kind of the same way because you get so focused on the goal at hand too, and it's almost
Yeah.
and yeah, sometimes the boyfriend or whatever can be more distracting than helpful. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, it takes a special person. I mean, what we do is not normal. Like the things we go through, and just the exhaustion and the preps, and of course, being that you're a pro and being all these things, it's like, does the person want you for your accolades and to just benefit from you, or do they want to be that person to supply for you as well? And so if
Mhm.
they're not pouring into you and it's just you, then it's like, I don't want any part of it. So,
Sure. I
you know,
understand.
yeah.
No, that's cool. I definitely understand that. Um, and in terms of being a kindergarten teacher, I was wondering how long have you been teaching and what do the kids and parents you work with think about your bodybuilding career? I bet they're proud of you, but
Yeah, it's funny. I have a bunch of my past students' moms, or like even present, like they'll follow me, they'll find my page and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." So super, super loving and very supportive. And I'm thankful for that, because it is something that's very different.
yeah,
My students think it's like the coolest thing in the world. I don't like specifically tell them that I compete in bodybuilding, but they
yeah.
see, that I'm muscular, and they see that I'm strong. And I'm very vocal in the classroom about, we have to drink our water, we have to stay hydrated. And
Hmm.
I teach kindergarten. So, these are all life skills that are important for them to see. And I don't take it lightly. I know that, they see me, and it's almost like I'm a walking bulletin board
Hmm.
and poster of work ethic. And
Yeah.
I might be, the only one that they may see. They might go home and mom and dad are not eating healthy, or not
Hmm.
exercising, not taking care of themselves. And so I
Yeah.
really don't take that lightly. I really try to emphasize healthy habits for them, so that they can see that. But yeah, they're adorable. They're like, I usually wear like oversized clothing to work. I don't really like wear anything too tight. I stay modest, but
Yeah.
like in the summertime, if I take like my cardigan off or whatever, and they're like, "Whoa!" and I'll see them like having a flex off in the back of the room, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like such
Oh,
a
that's cute.
distraction. But it's like the cutest thing. They're super excited to do like our exercise breaks and stuff like that. So thankfully, and the faculty and staff are very, very supportive. They'll ask me, when's your next show and are you getting ready? And so thankfully, that community is really, really nice to me, and very supportive of what I do. So that helps as well.
That's terrific. And how about your principal? Is he are they cool with the in terms of supportive and everything?
Yeah, yeah, she's very supportive. As I get closer, they can see it in my face, or, whatever. So they'll ask like, when's your next show and
Hmm.
stuff like that. But they always give me kudos and are like, I don't know how you do what you do.
That's so
So it's
cool.
it's nice. It's really nice to have their support, because I know it's very different. So I'm glad that I have their love.
That's terrific. I think that's terrific. Yeah, and it's good to have that supportive work environment like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Now, I was curious, what do your parents think about your bodybuilding efforts?
Yeah, so I mean, my dad thinks it's cool. Like he just, I mean, when I first started, I mean, he's still kind of he doesn't really know the sport entirely.
Yeah,
Neither of them really do. So it's cool. Like my dad supports from afar. My mom and I are a lot closer. So my mom is at every show, and
nice.
she still doesn't get it, so to say. Like
Yeah.
she just, she's just super supportive and super loving and does whatever she can to, help me in whatever I need. But it's super cute to see her, she used to come to all my college softball games and now she comes to my shows. And so having her
Nice.
as like my number one fan, regardless of the fact that she like has no idea what's going on. She's like, I don't know what that means. Like, did you win? Like after prejudging, she's always confused and I have to explain the whole thing to her. So it's funny to see her try and make sense of it,
Mm,
having a supportive family behind you is so so important because
yeah,
bodybuilding is a solo sport, but
yeah,
having that team behind you is what gets you there.
that's
And
true.
people don't realize that, who is around you and sending you love and pouring into you and supporting your journey is just as important as you just getting up there on your own. Because if you don't
Mm,
have all of that, then it makes it that much more difficult. So
I agree with you. I think that's important. I think it's even important to have that it takes a village, and it takes a village
yeah,
to have like a cheering section at even at the shows, and
yeah.
I think that's really important to have that. So
Mhm.
no, I think that's good. Do you have siblings too?
I do. So I have an older brother, and he is 28, and he's like basically my father figure, which
Hmm,
has always been super nice. So he comes to my shows as well, and he's
nice.
like, "You're more jacked than me," and he's like, "I can't even say I'm gonna protect you. Like, you're gonna be the one protecting me. You're my
Oh,
bodyguard."
nice. Very
But
cool.
yeah, he's super loving and supportive. And then I have a half brother who's younger. Um, I don't live with him, but he's super cute as well. So yeah,
That's
two
cool.
brothers. One I'm closer to than the other, but again,
Hmm.
they're super sweet and they try their best to understand a sport that I know is very complicated and very complex. So
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, how would how would you feel about or if I had a sister, how would I feel about her getting up on stage in a bikini?
right.
I don't know if I'd
Yeah,
be like,
it was definitely weird for him in the beginning. He's like, I don't know if I look at you, like it's just like weird. But thankfully, he got used to it and now he's just like, he's just like, I believe in you. And that's really all you ever want to hear from someone that you love. So
that's terrific. That's great. I think that's great. You have a good support network like that.
yeah.
Um, in terms of, I was just curious with Jess, like Jess Falborn, how long have you known her?
So Jess and I met through a photographer, and it's his name is Chris Vera. He shoots out of Signature Fitness. He actually just did a shoot recently with us as well.
Yeah.
And so he's a good friend of both of ours, and he had invited me to a shoot in the spring. And he was like, "Oh, I have another female competitor that's going to be there. I would love to get shots of you guys together." And so I met her there, and like right off the bat, we were just like as if we knew each other for years. And
Mm,
she's just got a very fierce, strong, independent woman attitude that we just clicked.
mm,
And ever since then, we've just been friends. So it's been about, I want to say that was like maybe 2 years ago.
cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so we've been friends since, and we text almost nearly every day. And I'm just really, really blessed to have her because, like I said, the bodybuilding community is not big where I am.
Mm,
So if it
yeah.
weren't for social media or for these connections, via photographers and stuff like that, I wouldn't have any women that really understand me and get me. I have friends, right? But they're friends that go out and they drink and they whatever, and that's all fine and dandy. But to have someone who gets the process that you're going through and can really say, like, I feel you, I hear you, and I see you.
Hmm.
And I've endured that too. It's just such a beautiful connection to have because they understand you in a way that no one else will.
Yeah,
So that's really the strong connection that Jess and I have, is like a sisterhood for sure.
that's terrific. I think that's great.
Yeah.
One really cool thing I think that she's done is the emceeing and then she's done like post-show interviews. But
Yeah.
um, I the two of y'all together as like MCs, I think would be cool. I could see that.
Yeah, I would love to. We did like an IG live one time and people loved it. So they're like, "Oh, you should do a podcast or whatever." So eventually we'll do something. But we're a riot together. We just crack up. So I think it'd be cool for sure to, MC something or do a podcast or another live we've been talking about. So definitely get more involved with each other and more content pushing out.
That would be awesome. Yeah. How about her guest posing? That might be kind of cool. Do like,
Yeah, that would be cool. That
yeah,
would be cool.
like at the be up on stage at the same time. Cool.
Yeah, do it together. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was curious if you were in a leadership position with IFBB, and this is, hypothetical, but what would you do to improve the sport of bodybuilding and try to make the sport better?
I mean, I think what a lot of people are doing, like Sid Gillen just did with raising the prize money for women, and just anything that I can do to improve the amount of exposure that women in particular are getting in the sport. Because as females in a male dominated sport and a male dominated world, it's really important for us because we are the small percentage of women that do enjoy muscle and do like muscle, and so we are very underrepresented.
Hmm.
And so if I could add anything to prize money or things like that, or even just give back to, obviously children are very huge in my heart. They have a special place. So getting them involved in any type of way, I think would be awesome.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, to really just excel the sport, because, it's sad to see that figure has been taken out of the Arnold, and women with muscle and all those bigger divisions have been pulled from shows like this. And so
Hmm. Yeah.
anything that we could do in terms of just prize money or exposure or running, children's camps and things like that, like anything we could do to push it out more is really, really important, especially now that it's starting to dwindle here, and starting to be cut out of a lot of different things.
I was curious if you've been involved in any like posing clinics or anything like that. Because I think those are kind of cool to get up and coming competitors to get experience with the pros and get advice and everything.
Yeah, so I was working with a posing seminar, just helping out, and with a couple of girls, volunteering my free time. It's at there's a powerhouse gym in Linden, New Jersey.
Hmm.
And so I was helping out on Sundays and just posing different girls. And I've had a lot reach out to me like, "You need to come back. We miss you." And so that was really nice, just to really meet these girls where they're at. And where they're at is a place that I once was and where I started. And so being
Hmm.
able to, be at those places or answer any DMs from amateurs that are reaching out and saying, "Hey, I see where you're at and I would like to get there one day. What can I do?" And
Hmm.
just being more vocal and sharing our testimonies and sharing our stories with girls that I was there too. It's
Hmm.
like just giving them that shot and giving them that advice is really, really important, because
That's
just giving
great.
back to the sport that gave to me is something that, is something I want to do. So,
I think that's terrific. I think that's good attitude too, and giving back and helping those that are coming up, too. So yeah.
yeah.
One thing I've discussed in terms of prize money, I need to look into this, but like like um, a fan, what am I trying to say? Where fans can basically pool together resources and then use that money towards a prize, and
Hmm.
I don't think that's ever really been tried before, but it could be like a GoFundMe or something like that.
Sure.
And then pick a show or two but I think that fans would give toward that. I'm not They don't necessarily have to give a lot, but if there's a large number that give a little, it
Right.
could end up being a pretty big pot of money. So
Hmm.
um
Yeah.
but I think that would be a good thing to have. And I think fans would support it too. So
Yeah, I know there's a lot of fans that, will reach out to athletes and try and sponsor in any way they can. And the sport
mhm.
is expensive. It's very expensive. it's, it's a privilege, honestly, to do what we do. And
Yeah.
so any type of money that can help in the future for amateurs or for people competing is really, really important. People don't understand how much money goes into the little things, the food, your pre-workouts, your just everything.
And the
It's
suits are so expensive.
costly. Oh,
Yeah.
forget it. Forget it. It's like a car payment.
Yeah.
Uh, it's
That's
wild.
ridiculous. Yeah, I
Yeah, and then
know.
the hair, the makeup, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, these boys, they're so lucky. They just pay for their suits are like $60 and then they go on. And I'm like, I wish. I mean, they do their tan, but for us, it's like the nails, the toes, the jewelry, by the time you count it all up, it's like, wow, it's a cost.
Yeah,
So
it's not fair because the guys get more prize money, but then they also have less, just
I
have a,
know. Maybe they should create a foundation that's giving back to women. They
yeah,
could pay for
that's
our
true.
nails or something.
I know that would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to give a quick plug. I got show my shirt. I got my BADRAP shirt on, but that's a
Yes.
clothing company that gives back to women and helps pay for competition costs for some of the women that they sponsor. So
Oh, that's
I just wrote,
amazing.
yeah, that's a good mission, I think. And they're the
Uh,
two ladies that run it are both bodybuilders too, but they're just really terrific people, Eunice and Jolene. So
that's
uh,
beautiful, and that's what we need for sure.
yeah, oh, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have one more question for you. I was just curious, and since you are so young, I'm sure you know about social media, but do you ever deal with like the fit shamers and the trolls and stuff, and how do you deal with that?
Thankfully, I mean, I have a pretty supportive following, I guess you could say. I mean, there are the silliness, like the people that are just, the men that are emasculated by us and just sit home on their computers and just are keyboard warriors. But thankfully, I'm just very firm in who I am, and whether it's bad judgment or good judgment, I'm not really swayed by those comments because eh, if I was interested in what people had to say, I would not pick bodybuilding because it's
Uh-huh.
definitely something that brings a lot of, you know, wide eyes. So,
Yeah,
thankfully, I haven't had too much hate, but when I do, it's just more laughable than anything, you know? So,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, you might have to deal with more attention when you do your pro debut, maybe too, because
Yeah.
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 Hmm. But and there's always block and delete too. That's the way to go, I think.
The best two buttons.
Uh-huh, exactly. I think that's true.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that I missed that you want to discuss or but
Nothing really. I just really thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for creating this podcast, giving us, a platform to talk about something that we love so passionately. So I appreciate you.
thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you. It's really honored to speak with you and I'll try to get this posted relatively soon,
Yay.
but best wishes for your pro debut. I'm really excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, bye, man. It's good talking with you.
Bye.